Alright, welcome back to the Open Shot Podcast, episode 13. Today we're going to be talking about some news around the league, also some potential trade rumors.
The Philadelphia 76ers broke that 4-game losing streak, just like Joel Embiid's finger. Alright guys, episode 13. Let's get to some news. So first off, Philadelphia 76ers. They were on a 4-game losing streak, and apparently it was taking a toll on Joel Embiid.
What a pussy.
What do you think about that, bro?
I mean, I've been seeing a lot of reporters and just analysts saying that Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid don't mesh well together, and I'm starting to see it. And it doesn't seem like Ben Simmons is adjusting his game for the better of the team, and I think that's gonna just in the long run it's gonna take a toll on the team.
Yeah.
So I mean, as it is, it's already taking a toll on Joel Embiid, and
Which I think is ridiculous.
yeah,
I mean, yeah, losing 4 straight sucks, but bro, you're not a bad team.
yeah,
And, just because you lose four straight is taking a toll on you. Yeah, it sucks, but really, bro?
I mean, and to say that these are the guys that are one of the teams which I think could come out of the East, they have to be more mentally prepared for these type of things. It's gonna happen.
Yeah. So next up, Cleveland Cavaliers, Kevin Porter Jr. out 2 weeks, 2+ weeks with a knee sprain. And the Atlanta Hawks, they're saying that they're going to bench 2 veterans, Chandler Parsons and Evan Turner. Do you think that's a good idea, even though they have nothing to lose, but... And I can't even believe Chandler Parsons is still in the league.
I mean, how worse can it get? How
Literally.
much worse can that situation get? It's their call.
So, some good news for us. Well, not good news, but some nostalgia for us. On February 22nd, the Miami Heat are retiring Dwayne Wade's jersey against the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Not only that, it's gonna be a 3-day event now,
Yes.
which is awesome, and I can't wait. We tried getting tickets to that game, but
It's like $200.
$200. But I mean, it's well deserved. I think Dwayne Wade is probably one of the best players to enter in the NBA.
Yeah.
Not only that, but
And he's the best athlete from Miami
no, I mean he is
to be in Miami.
he is the face of the Miami Heat. Whether you
and of Miami sports, I think.
yeah, for sure. And for him to get 3 days of celebration I just think that's really iconic. I mean, he wore number 3. He has 3 championships. I mean, how much better can it get? And it's just, I mean, it's sad because obviously we love Wade, but just to see that him getting this type of recognition and just, I know it's nice. It's nice to see as a fan.
So, apparently, the New York Knicks. So there was an interview with Kawhi Leonard post game the other day, and Kawhi said that he never even considered signing with the Knicks in free agency. So another L for New York.
That's just that's like the nail in the coffin. It's like
Literally.
It's like, you said I was gonna come, but I'm just gonna say on the record I didn't want to go to you guys in the first place.
Yeah, literally. They asked him, there was some consideration. Was there some consideration to going to New York? And he said no. There was no consideration going to New York. And also with the Knicks, Moore said that he wants to stay with the Knicks and help them build. So I mean,
What a guy. He has balls of steel, bro.
yeah, bro. Obviously his personality and his grit.
I mean,
it fits New York.
but
I mean,
it's like, let me be the Lord and Savior of New York. I mean, good for him. At least he.
I mean, he's stepping up to the plate. He's not quitting. He wants to play for New York, so I mean, that's good for the Knicks. At least they know that at least one person wants to fucking stay with him.
I mean, shit, Kyrie should be taking notes from this dude. At least.
Yeah, he's playing in a shitty team, and Kyrie is what? Because he has a little pain in his shoulder. So Los Angeles Lakers, Anthony Davis is gonna be out for the 2-game road trip coming up with a bruised tailbone. He took a nasty fall yesterday.
Get better, Papu.
And the Orlando Magic, Markelle Fultz is shutting me up this year. I was ripping him apart in the beginning of the season, but he scored a career-high 25 points on 55% shooting, 40% from 3-point, along with 5 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 steals, and they beat the Brooklyn Nets. So that's like, I mean, obviously his shot is there. He's able to, I feel like every other week we've been saying like a good game from him, so he's obviously been like consistent. And he's obviously like proving to be a big part of the Orlando Magic offense, which I'm proud of. I'm happy about. I didn't think he was gonna do it, but
he did it.
Here he is. Now the Brooklyn Nets. Kyrie Irving opened up about his shoulder injury, and surgery is possible to fix the issue, and he might take the year off because of the surgery. Well, how do you feel about that?
I mean, we literally just talked about this. I think it's a bitch move. I mean, if you need surgery, then whatever.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just like the whole situation in general, I think, is what makes it like a bitch move. You know what I mean? Like, it's been so quiet. No one knows what's really happening. And then now out of nowhere, after he's missed, 2 months, now he's saying, oh yeah, now I might need surgery.
Yeah, like, if that's the case, I mean, he hasn't been playing or anything. So if this has been an issue, then why didn't you just announce it from the beginning of the season? You know, that would have...
Yeah, from the beginning of the injury.
Like, just... It would have done so much better. Like like you said, the situation wouldn't have been as bad as it is now.
Yeah.
But him missing the Celtics game, and then
I feel like that has to do with something. Like, I feel like that's part of it. I still don't feel like, I mean, obviously if it's a real injury, you know, that sucks. Especially like a shoulder injury. Like in basketball, that's a really like annoying, nagging injury to have. But just the fact that like I said like last week, the fact that he stopped playing, or this injury happened to come to fruition, like, what was it, 2 or 3 games before the Celtics game, and the Celtics game happened, and all that drama. I don't know. I just feel like that has to do with something about it, and especially with all those rumors of leadership issues with the Celtics, mood swings with the Nets in the beginning of the season. I feel like that has to do something with it.
No, for sure. I mean, I hope he gets better, but it's just I would have wished he would be more transparent with the situation rather than the whole NBA guessing. But to me, it just kind of seems like he likes the attention, like that negative attention. Because if you didn't want it, you would make sure it wouldn't happen. But this is like the third situation where it's like we're kind of questioning Kyrie, and he just gets really defensive when it could get avoided. But I guess only time will tell with that.
Yeah, and I mean, right now, like, I mean, Spencer Dinwiddie has been playing really good. You know, he's been averaging like 25 plus points since Kyrie Irving left. But right now, the Brooklyn Nets are on a 7-game losing streak. So, I mean, they obviously need Kyrie's help, even though Spencer Dinwiddie is like picking up the pace and he's picking up the slack. And even last year he had a pretty good year too, and the Nets had a pretty good year. But now with Kyrie Irving out, what does that mean? Yeah, you know, I just don't know. Like, everybody thought that even with Kyrie Irving on the Nets and without KD, the Nets were going to have a really good year this year, and they're kind of imploding. And, I mean, if it's an injury issue, you know, obviously KD's not there because of injury, so we know that, and we know he's not going to come this year. But if Kyrie Irving's issue really is truly an injury issue, then it's a matter of, can people stay healthy? Can the Nets get past this? Can they find the right rotational players, and maybe they'll do some trades? But I don't know. If it's a mental thing, a leadership thing, an attitude thing, then that's a lot of, you know, that's really troubled waters for the Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah, it just adds a lot of weight, unnecessary weight, and to think that this could potentially, like on paper, with, you know, KD and Kyrie, this could potentially be a contender, but with, you know, it's a small issue, but it can affect the team, and it's unfortunate because I really do, like, when this trade first happened, or when he signed with the Nets, I actually was pretty excited, but I'm starting to have second thoughts, just like with the whole Celtics thing. When Kyrie went to the Celtics, I was really excited, and then I was just like, oh, well, it's whatever. It's the same thing is happening now, and that doesn't look good for his, like, legacy, so to say.
Or his, like, stock value, you know what I mean? Like, obviously he's on a contract, so he's guaranteed for a couple years, but, you know, if you have those attitude issues, you're not going to get an extension, or you're not going to get as much as you think you are.
Definitely won't get Konami with that attitude, I'll tell you that much.
Also with the Nets, LeVert is expected to return soon after missing 7 weeks following thumb surgery. So Caris LeVert is obviously going to be a really good step up for the Nets. Hopefully that'll give them a little bit more of a boost in terms of, like, their record and how well they're playing. Or, you know, like, right now the Nets are 16-20. Nobody really expected, you know, I didn't really expect I mean, I kind of predicted that the Nets wouldn't be as good as people thought they would, but I didn't think Kyrie Irving was going to miss fucking potentially the entire year either.
I don't think any of us did. And like you said, if it's an injury, then whatever. But
Yeah, like it is what it is, but I don't know. I just feel like there's something more there. And with Karis LeVert coming back, I think that's definitely going to be a big boost
help,
to
yeah.
a big help for the Brooklyn Nets offense.
and if we look, if we look at this team, without Kyrie, and if they had those key, like, let's say everyone was healthy besides KD and Kyrie. I mean, they're a pretty good squad. Like what they did last year with D'Angelo Russell.
Yeah.
And I think they could still be a good team. I wouldn't say a contender, but they could be a playoff team. I mean, like we've been saying, like, Dinwiddie's been going off. They get LeVert back. It could do a lot for this team, but it's just unfortunate because I feel like it's unfair to the guys, like the other guys that were expecting Kyrie to come in. And they're just kind of like, what do we do now? Like, we just kind of have to, like,
yeah. And I mean, they still have some pieces from last year's team that was really quiet, and they got into the playoffs at like the 8th seed. I think that's probably gonna happen again this year. Right now they're currently standing at the 8th seed, but I think the Nets are just gonna be one of those teams in the East that are fighting for, like just like every year at the end of the season, there's 4 teams that are fighting for 6, 7, 8 spot.
Yeah.
So next up, the Indiana Pacers. Victor Oladipo was assigned to the G League for practice, so he's closer to a return. I read that it's probably going to be like late January, early February, so that's definitely going to help out. Malcolm Brogdon also, like, and the Pacers in general.
And that's definitely good because, as history, as you can see, like in the past, after the All-Star break, that's when teams start to turn it up. So to get Oladipo back in a time like that is honestly clutch.
Yeah.
And I mean, they've been doing pretty good.
Yeah, they're 6th in the league right now, 23-14. That's a really good record so far. They're winning at least 2/3 of their games, and they're at a really good standing right now. And with Victor Oladipo coming back, who obviously Victor Oladipo is a game changer. He knows how to space the floor. He can pretty much do it all. He's explosive. He can shoot the 3. He can post up. He can drive it in. And he can also defend. That's obviously like an amazing addition to.
Yeah.
Not addition, but a good comeback.
For sure.
So the Pelicans, apparently Brandon Ingram is frustrated with players getting extensions. Right now he's getting $7.2 million this year, and then next year the Pelicans are able to give him a qualifying offer of $9.5 million, but he's going to be considered one of the biggest free agents in the 2020 free agency class. But apparently he went on quote saying, "Damn, this motherfucker got an extension," talking about other people getting extensions. So what do you think? Do you feel like he is, or do you think he feels that he's being underappreciated or unappreciated on the team? Do you think like that may be some chemistry issues with maybe the Pelicans front office? Do you think they're planning something bigger? I mean, they haven't offered him an extension yet, and obviously he's the best player in the Pelicans right now. Zion Williamson hasn't even played, and despite their record, he's been balling out. And I personally think he's worthy of an extension.
Yeah, I think he's worthy of an extension, but I don't think right now, like where he's at in his career, I don't think that should really matter.
Yeah, I mean, he's still on. I'm pretty sure this is still the rookie contract because he's only been in the league 4 years.
Yeah.
So this is still the rookie contract, but I mean, this year he's averaging 25 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, a steal, and 0.8 blocks. I mean, he's obviously like a really good player for the Pelicans, and the Pelicans need it too. The Pelicans are not doing good this year. They're missing out on Zion. They're missing out on talent. Lonzo did not work out the way they thought he would. He's on the bench, and LeVar Ball wants to kill himself somewhere in LA.
It's kind of a tricky situation because kind of what I spoke about this, when we first started the pod, and where I feel like young guys like this shouldn't really worry about the money. He has to remember that Zion is still on the team. I mean, he might not be playing, but he's still on the team.
Yeah.
So like you said, you never know. Maybe the Pelicans have something bigger in store. Maybe they want to, make some moves, and like he's a great player. Just because you don't get paid, I feel like the mentality is, oh, if you don't get paid, that means that people don't appreciate you. No, like sometimes sacrifices need to be made. Maybe the Pelicans are trying to make moves and to kind of have that salary to make those moves. We don't know that, and I think of it like that, you know, like.
Yeah.
And I think I feel like a lot of people appreciate him. I mean, I
Yeah.
never see any bad talk about
Yeah,
Brandon
exactly.
Ingram. So I would just be an optimist in this situation, but hopefully he gets an extension. Like you said, he's really worthy of one. But I just don't think he should be too caught up, like hung up on that right now.
Yeah, and if not, like, I think he's gonna be, like I said, like the best player in the 2020 free agency class because it's so thin. But he's obviously a great player. He's really stepped up his game from, last year to this year. He's playing literally only 1 minute more. Not even. He's playing, as of right now, last year he played 33 minutes and 51 seconds on average. This year's playing 34 minutes and 10 seconds. He's only playing 21 seconds more, and he's averaging 7 points more a game. 7 points more a game, 1.7 rebounds more a game, 0.8 assists more a game, half a steal more, and 0.2 blocks more. Like, he's obviously, like, a really improved player, and I don't know, maybe he might be in discussion for most improved also. Like, he's obviously, like, the leading man for this team. He's the leading scorer for the Pelicans, and I don't know, like, if he doesn't get an extension, I think that the Pelicans are really going to miss on a good player and a key player for their rebuild. And he's super young, too. So.
No, he's super young, and I mean, I've said this multiple times. He's like the second coming of KD. He has a similar game to him, and if he's really disciplined with his game, he could be an all-time great. But we don't know that. He's still really young. I don't want to like overhype him too much.
Yeah.
But he's a great player. At the same time, I just feel like I said, he just needs to keep his head in the right place, not to like act on it too much, and he'll get the extension. But we don't know what the future holds, so he can't be too hung up on that.
Yeah. Next up, the Detroit Pistons. Blake Griffin is contemplating season-ending surgery, scheduled to meet with specialists about his left knee injury. I think I saw, like, earlier today that he actually he's actually going to end up getting the surgery. So, with that being said, what's the Pistons, end game? What's their goal this year? Andre Drummond is obviously, we're going to talk about this a little bit later, but he's obviously a big name in trade talks this year. It's obviously a really big loss for the Pistons.
It's a huge loss. And, I mean, if Drummond does end up getting traded, that's going to be huge because, I mean, prior to them getting Derrick Rose and prior to them getting Blake Griffin, Drummond was the Detroit Pistons.
He's been there.
He's been their franchise player. And to lose a guy like Drummond would be huge, and to lose Blake Griffin to a season-ending surgery, I mean, that just sucks because I really do like. I mean, Detroit's a really
and Reggie Jackson hasn't even played this year, but Derrick Rose is obviously stepping it up and balling out.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate. It's just one of those things where it's like they just kind of have to ride the wave and I guess not rebuild, but like just go into tank mode.
Yeah,
because I mean that's all they can really do,
And they haven't gotten any like that much traction in the past. I mean, since they've gotten Andre Drummond, they haven't really made it too far into the playoffs. They haven't really done any significant runs. Haven't really gotten any really significant players either, other than Drummond. So, I mean, I remember when they had Stanley Johnson. He was good when he got drafted and stuff like that. But, I don't know. It's just not... I feel like at this point, if you're losing Griffin to a season-ending injury, Reggie Jackson's injured, Derrick Rose, is good, but Drummond might be traded off. If Drummond ends up being traded, then I think it's just blow up the team. Send Blake Griffin to a contender. Have
Derrick Rose go to a contender.
Have Derrick Rose go to a contender, unfortunately, even though he loves playing in Detroit. And I would hate to see him jump to another team, but
he doesn't deserve to
unless he really wants to be the number one guy for Detroit. I mean, that's I feel like that's super honorable for him, and helping the team rebuild. But I don't know.
It's unfortunate, man.
Yeah.
It sucks because the one thing I really like about Detroit in general, just that franchise, is that I see a lot of parallels to the Miami Heat. They're a franchise that is really gritty.
Yeah.
They
Inside
they fight.
Scoring and
they fight. They fight to the end and it sucks. But my main thing is if that does happen and if everything that we're saying is true, my thing is I would want Derrick Rose to go to a contender because I wouldn't want him to just struggle by himself like that.
Yeah.
He's come too far to just not win. And I feel like he could add a lot to a contending team coming off the bench. I mean,
Yeah, for sure.
I sent you that post not too long ago of his MVP season to now.
Yeah, and he's averaging more.
It's crazy, and I feel like he deserves to,
Yeah, be a like. I don't think Derrick Rose is ever going to be a superstar again or a star, but he's definitely going to be that guy on a team that's the second option, the number 2. Right now he's on the Pistons, and pretty much right now he's the number 2 because Andre Drummond is balling out and he's doing great, but offensively it's all Derrick Rose's game. But yeah, we just had to see. I mean, Derrick Rose obviously with the Detroit Pistons. He's played for 5 different teams: Chicago, New York, Cleveland, Minnesota, and now the Pistons. I mean, it would suck to see him go to another team like a former MVP like that, which is insane. Like, he was the youngest MVP ever, and
kind of not to cut you off, but like kind of reminds me. Well, not really, but Isaiah Thomas.
Yeah, like he's not getting the respect. I mean, I feel like honestly with Isaiah Thomas, Honestly, I feel like with Isaiah Thomas, a big thing about his disrespect is just his height, which I think is ridiculous.
Yeah, because he was an MVP candidate.
Yeah, like he balls out, and he has I feel like he kind of has a similar story with Derrick Rose, just obviously not with...
Not as intense.
Not as intense,
but like, there's similarities there.
Yeah, that it's like, a really amazing player that can perform for any team right now. No matter what system you put him in, he's going to play great. And they've just had an injury-riddled career. They've been kind of disrespected or haven't been given the right opportunities. And now they're both in kind of good positions where obviously I think Derrick Rose is doing way better than Isaiah Thomas this year, but they're just both kind of in positions where they've been put in positions where they can't show their full potential. But right now Derrick Rose is there in Detroit where he is showing his full potential. He's showing look, I'm an amazing player, I'm playing great. I'm obviously a starting point guard talent, or at least a backup talent. Play me, you know what I mean? And it just sucks that now he's going to be on the Pistons where they're losing Blake Griffin. Reggie Jackson hasn't played. All their talent hasn't really been fulfilling as much as they should have. And, especially with the trade deadline looming, coming around, and Andre Drummond might leave too, it's just going to be harder for Derrick Rose.
It sucks.
So next up, the Phoenix Suns. Frank Kaminsky is going to be out indefinitely with a stress fracture. He will be evaluated in 4 weeks, and he currently has career highs in rebounds and assists. So that sucks for him. He's, I don't want to call him he's not a bust because he was drafted at 13.
Well, I think you wanted him.
I wanted him.
You wanted him so bad.
I wanted him that year.
I remember.
Because
I wanted him so bad.
I wanted him stretched for in that draft. But that was the year we got Winslow, right? We got Winslow.
Yeah, that's the year that we got Was it? I think it was the year that we got Winslow, and they were like, "Rio Frank, he should get Frank Kaminsky." I remember you saying that.
I'm so happy we got Justice Winslow instead. But I like Frank Kaminsky's game because I love the stretch four complex. But he's gonna be out indefinitely for the Phoenix Suns. I mean, the Phoenix Suns are just another franchise that can never catch a break or the front office can never really make any big moves.
Yeah, and speaking of Justice Winslow and Jimmy Butler, just to add this on there, they might be available for tonight. So that'd be awesome. Which is
for Eric Spoelstra, that's super tough in terms of rotation because
Yo, but let me tell you something. I mean, shit, we're gonna go on a rant right now, aren't we? Yo, Eric Spoelstra is probably one of the best coaches I've seen.
Bro, yeah.
He can do anything with a team. I mean, I'm trying not to be super biased, but I'm just watching these games, and he just uses what he has and makes the best of it.
He's definitely a Coach of the Year candidate this year, if not the front runner.
For sure, no, and missing Jimmy, but I went to the game on Sunday, and he used James Johnson for crying out loud.
Yeah,
and he utilized everyone, and they played beautiful basketball. So I don't know, just hats off to him. I just kind of want to say that, and it's
going to be tough, too, because we have so much talent, so much young talent, and Justice Winslow's been out for a while. So whose spot is going to be taken to start Justice Winslow?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Or maybe not to start, but who's going to if he comes off the bench?
Cutting off minutes and things like that.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I would say, I don't even know. That's the thing. Everyone is just so, contributing to what they're supposed to. But at the same time, to add to that, I feel our team, they're so they're very young, but at the same time very mature. They're not the type of team, we're not full of egos, and we're
yeah, exactly.
So they'll understand, which is I think the best thing about our team is everyone knows their role, so they'll just kind of work things out. But I'm excited to see Justice Winslow play. I feel like we haven't seen much of him this season.
Yeah.
And I mean, kind of miss him. So hope he contributes, and it's good to see him back if he comes back.
Yeah. So Washington Wizards, Rui Hachimura is out for another 2 weeks, and some NBA All-Star Weekend news. The NBA announced that Dwight Howard will be participating in the dunk contest. How do you feel about that, bro? When was the last time? When was the year that he participated? I want to say it was 2012.
I mean, it's so weird and random.
Yeah, like I don't know, like it's just random how he got invited again, and he is going, and I mean, I feel like it's always cool to have like one center.
Yeah.
In the dunk
like
contest.
Andre Drummond, didn't he participate not too long ago? I think he did.
I think he did, yeah.
Yeah, which is weird because he's not really a big dunker.
Yeah, he's not a big
he's just
dunker.
big. That's it.
But I mean, Dwight Howard is like, he is athletic, so it is crazy how he's going to the dunk contest. I'm excited to see him again. I just hope the rest of the candidates are good, which apparently they are.
Derek Jones Jr.
Derek Jones Jr. from the Heat. Ja Morant and Zach LaVine are all invited.
Derek Jones Jr. is like a freak of nature. I would love to see him personally.
Yeah.
And I think he went to a dunk contest. Not like I forgot which year it was. I think when he was on Phoenix, I think, or something like that.
Oh, I'm not sure.
Yeah, but I'm excited. But I don't know. I feel like.
I mean, if Zach LaVine accepts the challenge and he goes, which I read that Zach LaVine. Oh yeah, for sure. I read that Zach LaVine won't go to the dunk contest if he's not an all-star. So like he kind of wants to be like an all-star this year, and I think he is an all-star candidate this year also, like for Chicago. But even if he's not an all-star, I still want to see him in the dunk contest, man. Like every year he's gone, he's won. He's an amazing dunker. Like he's built for the dunk contest, and he's an insane dunker. So I would love to see that. Like I remember the best dunk contest of our time is Aaron Gordon versus Zach LaVine. That was the best dunk contest like in recent memory, other than like obviously like Vince Carter's dunk contest and stuff like that. But I feel like the dunk contest was kind of getting like lame every year.
It was just repetitive. Like it wasn't even like creative anymore. But these guys brought the creativity back. Yeah. So it would be nice, like if Zach LaVine, if he does become an all-star, and he does become, he does come to the dunk contest, that'll be cool. But I will say, I mean, a little bit biased here, but I do think that Derek Jones Jr. would give him a run for his money.
Yeah, I mean, sure. I hope so. Like, because I just feel like I wasn't expecting Aaron Gordon to do so good in that dunk contest, but he did amazing. And just because you're an explosive dunker in game doesn't mean that you're a dunk contest dunker. So that's what I'm still waiting to see from Derek Jones. Yeah. Whereas Zach LaVine, before he was even in the NBA, everybody knew that he had to go to the dunk contest because he was putting videos up like from college and stuff like that, like him doing crazy ass dunks. Like he's always wanted to be in a dunk contest. He said that that's something he's always wanted to do, and he's done it twice already.
Like it's different to posterize a guy because you have that ability, but the creativity is something different.
Exactly.
Yeah, like it's an art in a sense.
To have the agility and the, I guess, like
the precision,
acrobatic skill,
like the precision to do something and like think of something and do it. Like that's crazy. It's hard.
Like Zach LaVine literally did, between the legs, from the free throw line, and a windmill from the free throw line. Like what the fuck? Like I have no doubt that Derek Jones can do that too, but we just gotta see. I mean, I would love to see anybody from the Heat be in anything. Yeah,
I don't know. Like I'm excited, and Ja Morant too. Like he's young, so
yeah, he's super young. He's pretty much the front runner rookie of the year candidate.
And that's cool. Like you're a rookie and you're getting invited to all these events.
Yeah, I think that's super fun.
Like that's a dream to most people.
Which I think Zach LaVine went to the dunk contest his rookie year too. I
believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's like I don't know. I feel like that's super cool. Like obviously Ja Morant's gonna be in the Rising Stars Challenge. Like he's obviously gonna be in the rookie All-Star game, and just to be part of All-Star Week in your first year is like you said, like a dream come true for any player.
One thing though, I mean, it sucks because it's like at this point it's never gonna happen. But LeBron, dude, what are you doing?
Bro, I want to see LeBron.
Like this is the last decade of LeBron. I mean, we don't know when exactly, which sucks, but come on, man.
I have a feeling he has like another 4 or 5 years in the league.
Yeah, but
I mean, I also saw another post that said Vince Carter for the dunk contest.
Damn.
which I would love.
Just to send them off.
Just to send them off.
That-
Like, participate. You don't have to win. But
Just like as a salute, you know?
yeah.
That'd be
Or
pretty
maybe
cool.
like if he's like,
kind of like how Wade and Dirk kind of got that like submission by Adam Silver to go into the All-Star
oh
game.
yeah, like an honorary
Like that.
selection.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
That would be really cool.
Like an
to see.
honorary dunk contest selection, or even like an all-star selection. And or
And
even then, if he's not like an official participant, I want him front row, and I want someone to bring him out and just have him do like a 360 or something.
No, and just to get that standing ovation one last time is huge. I
Yeah.
mean, he's not. I wouldn't say like he's an icon for that dunk contest, and then just to see that guy go away one last time there, it'd be iconic. I think. It'd be really huge for All-Star Weekend, and I would love to see that. It'd be awesome.
So I hope they do something with Vince Carter for the dunk contest for his last year. So that's it for the news. One topic we wanted to talk about was Hassan Whiteside gets booze on his return to Miami.
I was live in the flesh, baby. It was crazy. No, and the funny thing is, I was talking to my brother, and we were on the way to the game, and I'm like, bro, it would be so cool if we started a "We Got Shooters" chant. And mind you, I just thought of it, and let me tell you, that's exactly what happened.
I saw that. I saw that video on Twitter, and they were like, "We got shooters."
Bro, I mean, however, I will say this. I will give credit where credit is due. Whiteside had a good game against us. This wasn't enough because,
Yeah, he had 21 points, 18 rebounds, and 2 blocks. Like, so he balled out. He played 32 minutes, but the Heat won 122-111.
hell yeah.
Some people from the Heat, like I believe it was Justice Winslow and Derrick Jones Jr. They were saying, Hassan Whiteside deserves praise when he comes back. He shouldn't be booed, whatever. But I feel like that's just professional courtesy as players.
For sure. I mean,
everybody in Miami didn't like.
I mean, I guess it's different when you actually play with a guy.
Yeah.
And you have like that connection. He's your teammate, so it's different. But I mean, I still don't agree what he did.
Yeah, from a fan standpoint,
it sucks.
It looked like he just got his contract and
like whatever. Trying. He was on the beach. He was just.
Yeah, he was just chilling in South Beach.
He was chilling in South Beach and just kind of living the life. And I guess the whole "We Got Shooters" video that was like the nail in the coffin for us. Like, dude, you're an asshole. Like, why would you do something like that? But he's always kind of, to me at least, he's always been kind of an immature player in that sense, where he's not really professional. He's just kind of, he lets his emotions get the best out of him.
Yeah.
But I will say, like, he had a great game. But one question I want to ask you is, like, if the Portland Trailblazers were an Eastern Conference team, do you think it'd be different? Because, I mean, we look at this team and it's like...
they're 16-22 right now.
Yeah, but they're in the Western Conference.
They're in the Western Conference. So, with the 16-22 record, so right now they're 10th in the West. If they had that same record in the East, they would be 7th or 8th seed.
Which is crazy, because, like, for me, like, a lot of people were saying... Like, I saw a lot of talk saying, oh, Whiteside's trash, whatever, but, like... He's not trash.
He's a great player. It's just that I think also the Trailblazers are really affected by just by injuries, in terms of, like, for example, they don't have Rodney Hood, they don't have Zach Collins, who was a big part of their offense also, and Jusuf Nurkic, who is arguably their best player behind Damian Lillard. Mm-hmm. Jusuf Nurkic is a center that can pass the ball, play make, do literally everything, and he's not playing. You know what I mean? So they have a really big hit from that. I think their talent, or their kind of success this year, or their lack thereof, is because of injury and just like getting new teammates and stuff like that. Next year, I think they're really gonna light it up, because if Zach Collins comes back healthy, Rodney Hood is healthy, and Jusuf Nurkic is healthy, with Hassan Whiteside and Nurkic starting, if they have, it's gonna be really hard to have Nurkic be at the 4 or having Whiteside be at the 4, especially with Carmelo Anthony, but that's going to be an insane game, or an insane team, because having that kind of length and talent at the center position with both Nurkic and Whiteside is going to be unstoppable. It's going to be kind of like, I feel like, having Anthony Davis and McGee and Dwight Howard at the center position, where they're just lighting it up all the time in the paint.
And I feel like a big thing, is that do you think Whiteside feels a little bit of pressure, considering that Nurkic is out and he's like the main big?
Yeah, for sure, because I feel like Nurkic obviously can do it all, because Nurkic was just kind of like a new age center because he was able to assist the ball, pass the ball. He was able to block. He was able to rebound. Obviously, like that's like being an old age center, but he was able to pass the ball around and really be a good playmaker, as a center. Where Hassan Whiteside does not have that skill at all. Hassan Whiteside is not a playmaker. He can't assist the ball. He can't he just can't be that type of like pass first kind of center. But I do feel like he has a lot of pressure because he knows he's only starting because Nurkic is out. He knows that he was traded there or that he was needed in Portland because Nurkic was out. So because of that, I just feel that, yeah, he has pressure. He's enjoying his time right now. But I feel like the same issue that happened with the Heat last year where he kind of gave up. Not last year, but after the contract and everything, he kind of gave up after he got paid. He wasn't playing with as much heart anymore, and the play style did change. Like Eric Spoelstra wasn't utilizing him 100%, but I think that's what's gonna happen next year. Nurkic is obviously gonna get all the minutes once he gets kind of slowly integrated back into the rotation. Nurkic is a franchise player for them. So is Lillard. So is McCollum and everything. But I think that next year it's going to be more of a problem where this year he's kind of like utilizing as much as he can. He's playing as hard as he can. But then once he kind of sees that he's not getting as many minutes, it's going to, I think his stats and his efficiency or his contribution is going to take a downturn.
Yeah.
So, NBA trade deadline is coming up mid-February. It's always out right after the All-Star game. There's been a lot of trade rumors. So do you want to start it off? Or you want to go 1-1 or?
I'll start it off because for me personally, even though I do take care of the Western Conference on this podcast, I want to go more in depth with your shit.
Okay.
So I have a couple because let's be honest with you, the West is stacked. So yeah, there could be some trades and things like that, but it wouldn't really be detrimental as the East where there's so much improvement.
Yeah.
So I'll start off by saying I saw this actually today. That it's a rumor saying that that the Lakers could be targeting DJ Augustine as a bench role, and that's
what they need a point guard.
And I think that's pretty cool because I remember him on the Chicago Bulls when we would go against them in the playoffs. I remember him on the Indiana Pacers at one point. He's a really good player, I believe, and I mean average throughout his whole career he averages around 9 points a game, and they don't really need someone that could give you 15 because they have so much already with Anthony Davis, LeBron James, Avery Bradley.
Their main goal really is to get pretty much a playmaker.
Yeah. And to have him off the bench to help out Rondo and things like that, that'd be really cool. And I saw somewhere saying that they're not really trying to entertain the whole Derek Collison thing. So to me, that just means that Derek Collison could stray away more to the Clippers, which I wanted, which would be awesome.
Yeah.
And I also saw that Kyle Kuzma could be potential.
I saw that. Kyle Kuzma might go to the Kings or.
That's crazy.
I think it was for Bogdanovic.
Bogdanovic, yeah.
Who can light it up? He's just a scorer. I think yesterday or Monday. I don't know what day it was, but he literally got. I want to say it was 35 points, 0 rebounds, 0 assists, 0 everything. He just got points, and he lit it up. He's just a scorer, bro. And I mean, to go to a team like the Lakers, that LeBron system is always to have a guy in the corner, shoot threes, which is why he has Danny Green, why he had J.R. Smith, why he had James Johnson, why he had Mike Miller and all those players. He's just going to light it up.
Yeah,
and the last thing the Lakers need is, not the last thing, but do the Lakers really need scoring help? No, but that's going to be insane.
If that were to happen to me, that's like Thanos getting the last Infinity Stone and just put it in the gauntlet and you're fucked.
Just straight scoring.
Because we've seen in the flesh with LeBron, when he gets, a 3-and-D guy, put him onto the team, and that's it. Exactly. It's game over. It's game over.
Yeah, it's game over. That's the system he always is builds pretty much around him.
I mean, we saw with Chris Bosh, we saw with Kevin Love, we saw with just pretty much every one of his teams, he has that. But my thing is it the smart move to trade away Kyle Kuzma or?
That's what I'm thinking. I'm looking at their stats now, and they kind of seem even in terms of stats. I mean, they were drafted the same year. They've both played only 3 years, but I think Kyle Kuzma is a little bit better of a player because I feel like he's a little bit more versatile. I feel like he's a little bit better in terms of, I don't know, I just like his play style a lot more. I feel like Kyle Kuzma won't be the player to just get points, kind of like how Bogdan Bogdanovic did, but he is a better 3-point shooter, and he is a better kind of like I don't know. I think it just really depends on the system because, for example, Kyle Kuzma had a great year last year. You know, he was averaging 18 points a game. He had 5 rebounds, and now this year he's playing 10 minutes less. His production is less, so I think Kyle Kuzma will have. I think if Kyle Kuzma gets traded to the Kings, he's gonna light it up in the Kings, and I think the Lakers are gonna regret it. Whereas Bogdanovic is just kind of gonna be like you said, like a 3-and-D guy. Just defend whoever you're guarding and get the open shot. But I don't know, man. I feel like maybe even he hasn't said it. I feel like Kyle Kuzma kind of wants to be more. He obviously wants to be more of a integral part of the offense or the game plan, offense and defense, or the general overall game plan of the Lakers, and he's not getting it there. Whereas in the Kings, he'll be a more kind of like starter player. He'll be a more important player on the Kings, and he'll have more confidence there because now he's kind of getting looked over. Where I mean, the big three of the Lakers was Lonzo, Ingram, and Kyle Kuzma, and they were playing. You know, obviously they didn't have like great records and stuff like great team record, but they were playing really good together. Them three, and there was a super great young core. And if Kyle Kuzma is surrounded by old guys, you know what I mean, with Davis, McGee, LeBron, so he's not getting minutes.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like I feel like I would have to say that I feel like it would be kind of like a neutral thing, but I feel like it would be better for Kyle Kuzma to shine somewhere else.
Yeah.
Because Bogdanovic has never really been that star kind of player, or that like personality wise, not talent wise, like personality wise, and I feel like Kyle Kuzma could really be, you know, kind of like the same thing of how they traded Brandon Ingram to the Pelicans. You know, Brandon Ingram's on the Pelicans now and he's lighting it up. I feel like that kind of same jump in stats and jump in offensive consistency will happen to Kyle Kuzma if he goes somewhere else.
No, yeah, and it's kind of like what it reminds me of is kind of like James Harden going, you know, to the Rockets from OKC, where he was still a good piece. He would still contribute.
They just didn't want to extend
but he
his
couldn't
contract.
really, I guess, develop.
Yeah.
Not saying that
They didn't want to start him.
not saying that Kyle Kuzma is going to become the next James Harden by any means. I don't think so. I mean, I don't know, but it would develop him into a better, like you said, he would get that what he needs to just kind of shine and be the number one option. But with Frank Kaminsky, him being on the Kings and to transition into the Lakers is huge. Because, like, you're going from
Bogdanovic, not Frank Kaminsky.
My bad. Bogdanovic, like him going to the Lakers, that'd be crazy.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that's the thing. I feel like personality-wise, he would be a better fit in terms of, like, mindset because I don't think Bogdanovic would really complain that much about not playing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I think he'll be fine with being a 3-and-D guy. Whereas Kyle Kuzma, I think Kyle Kuzma has more potential, pretty much.
Yeah.
I think it should be used somewhere else.
I mean, I don't really think he would complain either, considering that he's going from the Kings to the Lakers, and he has a chance of winning a championship.
Exactly, yeah.
So he would do whatever it takes to just kind of contribute. And
and I'm sure Kyle Kuzma doesn't mind, like, you know, playing 20 minutes a game and just being in part of that offense. But the fact that, I don't know, I've been seeing kind of like mixed reports of where the owner said, I mean, not the owner, the GM of the Lakers said, you know, he's an important part of our core for the future. But I also read today that he is the one that kind of initiated talks with the Kings for a Kuzma trade. So I don't know. You know, it's obviously it's they have to say whatever they have to say that's in the better interest for the player and for them. But if they trade him, they trade him.
Yeah. And so the last two, they're just kind of like standouts because that's the one that really like stood out to me, like DJ Augustine and Kyle Kuzma, because that's really big considering that the Lakers are, you know, a contender.
Yeah.
And Kyle Kuzma seems to be like one of their key pieces to that rotation. But these two we've talked about before, and that's the Karl Anthony Towns trade and the DeMar DeRozan and Aldridge, like them moving from the Spurs to somewhere else.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, so to me that's like, it stands out to me because like if it does happen, like let's say, I mean we talked about Aldridge potentially going back to the Trailblazers, but looking out at it now, like
would it be the right move?
I feel like it would be more like nostalgia, like, oh, get this guy back.
And I mean, and they already have Carmelo Anthony,
Whiteside,
but like, I mean,
yeah.
For example, who would you start then, LaMarcus Aldridge or Carmelo Anthony? And then at the 4 position, you have pretty much 2 old guys.
Yeah.
Or 2, like, not old guys, but 2 veteran players that kind of have a similar play style. You know, LaMarcus Aldridge was known for rebounding, low post offense, and 3-pointers. So is Carmelo Anthony. So it's kind of like, are you going to have the same type of player on the court at all times? You know, whoever's on the bench, whoever's starting, or whoever's on the court, they're both going to have the same play style. They're both kind of going to do the same thing. I think Carmelo Anthony's a little bit more athletic, so that can kind of help with more of the pace. But I don't know. Like you said, I feel like that's going to be more of a nostalgia move.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I mean, let me not say that, because I was going to say, like, that's more like Wade coming back to Miami. Like, but that made more sense, though.
Yeah, that made more sense.
But, like, it's like here.
But even then, when Wade came back to Miami, we were stacked at the shooting guard position.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it was like, it was kind of like a nostalgia move, but it worked.
It worked.
Like, because we obviously won some games, and he was playing really good. Like, he was playing good for his age. He was obviously contributing to the offense and defense. I just think that LaMarcus Aldridge won't have that much of an impact to their success.
Yeah. And with the whole Karl Anthony Towns thing, I mean, we've talked about it countless times. I don't want him to go to New York. Like, what do you give for Karl Anthony Towns? Like,
I mean, for New York, it would have to be out. Like, you would for sure have to give up Julius Randle, especially if Morris doesn't want to leave. Julius Randle is gonna have to be included in that. I think R.J. Barrett for sure, like being a high pick, he's obviously gonna. I think he's gonna have to be included in that. And I mean, if you put Julius Randle, R.J. Barrett, and you're gonna have to give up a lot of draft picks and maybe one or two other players depending on the salary. Maybe the Timberwolves are also gonna have to put in another player also, but I think it's gonna be like. It's gonna be some sort of trade like that. Karl Anthony Towns and another player from the Timberwolves, and Julius Randle, R.J. Barrett, and maybe one other player, two other low salary players, you know, low bench players with one or two draft picks, because the Timberwolves do not want to rebuild without draft picks, especially with the Knicks doing so bad. They're gonna want their first round draft picks.
Now, if R.J. Barrett goes to Minnesota, do you think the whole, like, will he become a bust? I feel like, I mean, it sucks because...
I mean, I don't think his situation is going to be any worse than it is right now in the Knicks.
Yeah.
Because, well, I mean, there is the fact that, for example, he's averaging 14 points, 5.2 assists, 5.2 rebounds, 2.5 assists, and 1 steal, but he's a guard forward. Andrew Wiggins is also a guard forward. So I don't know how the minutes are going to play out like that or in that way. You know, I just don't know how I don't know how much of his contribution will be. Now, if it's, I don't know, I also don't want to see a talent like R.J. Barrett. Like, he's kind of, I feel like he's wasting away in the Knicks. It's his first year, obviously, so he's not wasting away. I shouldn't say that, but I mean, the potential of him growing more there is very unlikely. Going to the Timberwolves, I feel like it would be good too for him to grow there, but they have a lot of young talent as well, especially at the guard and forward position. I mean, if you look at their roster, obviously they have Wiggins, they have Okogie, which is really who's a really good potential player. They have, if Karl Anthony Towns goes, you know, they still have Jordan Bell, Giorgio Deng, who's obviously like he's a center, but he's a really good piece of their team as well. Like, he's a big franchise player for them too. I just feel like they have a lot of pieces where, I don't know, I just don't see R.J. Barrett kind of improving the team that much, especially at the position he is. Now, if they do a crazy trade where, okay, they send R.J. Barrett to the Timberwolves and the Timberwolves send him somewhere else, that would, I don't know where they would send him, but that would be a big thing too. Yeah. Or if they do a 3-team trade.
Yeah. Well, those were kind of like I said, there wasn't really much that I wanted to go off, considering that the Western Conference in general is just, they're so good.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about more on the Eastern Conference because there's so much improvement that needs, they could be.
Yeah, and there's a lot of trade rumors too in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, so take it away.
Bro, so first off, Kevin Love. He's not happy with the Cavaliers. It's even gotten to a point where he bitched out the GM.
Which, I mean, let me go off record saying that that's not like Kevin Love like.
Exactly.
He's never been the type
he's never complained.
But for him to reach this point of insanity, I mean, you're in the fucking cast, my dude.
Yeah.
This was gonna happen.
Yeah.
But it's crazy.
And it's like the LeBron effect. Like, he leaves and he kind of leaves wherever he was in shambles. You know what I mean? Like, when he left Cleveland the first time, they became the worst team in the NBA. Came to the Heat. When he left the Heat were a really bad team the next year, but with Eric Spoelstra and Pat Riley, they were able to kind of bring it up, and they were low-seeded playoff teams. They didn't make the playoffs sometimes, but obviously we've bounced back now. And when LeBron left Cleveland this time, he left it in shambles again. Everybody left. J.R. Smith didn't come back. Kevin Love stayed there. The whole team kind of like the older players retired. It was just like
Kyrie's gone.
Kyrie's gone. Yeah, exactly. Kyrie left during the fucking. You know what I mean?
During the process.
So it's like, I don't know. It's just insane how, like, Kevin Love, like you said, it's not his personality. He's super frustrated with the team. I read that he doesn't like how the younger players are being extremely selfish. They're playing a lot of ISO. I think he is the one that's leading the team in assists with like 3 assists. And he's a power forward center. You know what I mean? Like, that shouldn't happen. Especially when you have young talents like Colin Sexton and stuff like that are guards that should be playmakers or should be passing the ball more. So, he's obviously not happy there. And I even saw that the Cavs aren't even going to do any disciplinary action for his outbursts on the bench, his attitude on the field, on the court, and his outbursts like to the GM. They're not going to do anything disciplinary to him, which means that they know that they're in the wrong. They respect Kevin Love and that he kind of deserves better. So I hope they trade him. Now, where is he going to go? I think one potential place is the Portland Trailblazers.
Shit.
If they trade Zach Collins, who's a really young player, and Kevin Love, because I feel like, for example, we're talking about LaMarcus Aldridge going to the Trailblazers. I think Kevin Love will be more effective than LaMarcus Aldridge. Now, the same problem exists. What are you going to do with Carmelo Anthony? But I think that if they trade Zach Collins and Bazemore, that are both on expiring contracts, and send some draft picks to the Cavs, I think the Cavs will definitely take it. And I think the Cavs will take it just to kind of get rid of Love's contract and to rebuild completely and to have those 2 young players to rebuild around. And I think it'll kind of be more of the Trailblazers kind of issue of, okay, so what do we do with Love? I think it's more of a Cavs like positive side for them for a trade. I think the Trailblazers won't get like too much positive because Kevin Love I've always loved Kevin Love, and Kevin Love is going to be getting about $29.5 million a year until 22-23 year, until the 22-23 season, so that's another 3 years. But I don't know, like Carmelo, I don't think Carmelo Anthony is going to stay forever. Kevin Love is obviously going to be an amazing player, and I think if he's willing to share some minutes with him, which I don't think he is, but I think that's a potential place. Another team, the Miami Heat, bro. Now, it depends on what they're willing to give up. I wrote down here Olenek and Leonard, maybe throw in James Johnson and a draft pick. I'm not a huge fan of Pat Riley giving away draft picks because that's what he does constantly. He doesn't like to draft.
He's like Oprah. He just gives them away.
But, I mean, Kevin Love on our team I think will be a really good addition because we have so many young athletic players. And Kelly Olynyk and Myers Leonard their role in the team is to be a center, rebound, and to shoot 3-pointers if they need to. Kevin Love has all of that. So I think getting rid of both of them, trading both of them away, which, I love them as players, but to get Kevin Love, I think it'll be worth it. And you can also kind of dump James Johnson's contract onto the Cavs and let them deal with it. I think it'll be a really good addition to the Heat, and I think Kevin Love would love the culture here. I think he'll love the play style here. I think he'll really like shine, and I think he'll be a really good addition to our team as well, like in terms of like just helping us out, because if you get rid of Olenek and Leonard, for example, that's a center and a power forward, we have Kevin Love. I think Chris Silva will now have a better opportunity to be pretty much the backup for Bam Adebayo. And I think Chris Silva like reminds me of Udonis Haslem. He's not a guy who's going to get you a ton of stats, but he's going to have a really big like defensive pressure, have a lot of rebounds, and be a defensive like lockdown player. Not necessarily that he's going to get blocks, but he's going to knock people's shots off. He's going to kind of knock people off their rhythm the same way that Udonis Haslem did.
Yeah.
So I think that'll be a good thing also. But if those 2 teams don't do it, any team that needs spacing, rebounding, and post offense, that's where Kevin Love should go. But I think it's being disrespectful to him to keep him on the Cavs, especially if he's so verbally unhappy, and the Cavs aren't even going to discipline him. So I feel like that means that they know that they're in the wrong and that they should kind of help him out.
My only fear with getting Kevin Love is his age.
True.
The only thing, because I mean Jimmy Butler is in his 30s, Kevin Love is in his 30s,
Yeah.
and it's like
Which kind of like the tail of the Heat. I feel like we always have like great players, but it's
they're always like
aging.
at the end of their career.
Yeah.
So which kind of sucks because for me, like I would love to have a player like Kevin Love on our team, but my thing is if we do get Kevin Love, I expect Pat Riley to make other moves so they could win now. Because we're not just gonna have Kevin Love and not.
Which is what I'm scared of, because
Yeah.
I love our team. I don't want to blow it up either.
Yeah, and I really like Miles Leonard. A lot of people from Portland, when he first got traded to us, they were saying how Leonard wasn't really too good and things like that. But I feel like we've done a really good job with him. He's growing on me a lot, and I don't know. I just feel like
I love his personality too, and he's performing well.
Yeah.
But
Kelly Olynyk, on the other hand, he's a little bit of a disappointment. I mean, I really do like him as well, but he hasn't shined through this season considering that we have Duncan Robinson.
Because he was doing I feel like he was doing good when we got him from the Celtics, but now with Bam Adebayo really improving and kind of like blowing up, I think that now Kelly Olynyk is being like overshadowed and it's just not his type of game anymore.
Yeah. So that's my only, I guess, concern going into that. But I would love to have Kevin Love on our team. That would be awesome. But if we were to get him, like I said, I feel like Pat Riley would need to just make some moves to just kind of solidify us as a contender. Because I feel like Jimmy Butler and Kevin Love they're good together. But I feel like we would need a little bit more than that to.
Yeah.
And
I'm gonna get to that a little bit later. So. The Atlanta Hawks, I have them written down here because they've been interested in a big man all year. The two most common names that I've heard, Steven Adams in the beginning of the season and now Andre Drummond. Kevin Love, I feel like can also maybe be going to the Hawks because they're obviously in the market for a big man, but so far I think Andre Drummond's the biggest target. I don't want to see Andre Drummond go there, but that's just like a quick one. Speaking of Andre Drummond is, I feel like, the most talented player in the Eastern Conference that is in trade talks. He said that he does not want to leave Detroit. He says, quote, "I'm not a quitter." So, he loves Detroit. He's been there his entire career. He's the face of their franchise, like we were saying earlier. But some teams that he can go to, the Atlanta Hawks, because they're in the market for a big man. The Dallas Mavericks. I think the Dallas Mavericks can maybe give up Courtney Lee, Dwight Powell, Tim Hardaway to kind of like help them out over there. And I mean, imagine having Luka, Kristaps, and Drummond on the team. That's a scary big three.
That is.
And just having like Kristaps Porzingis and Andre Drummond on the team, like Dwight Powell is an amazing center, but to have Kristaps Porzingis and Andre Drummond. That's a twin tower complex. That's kind of like going back to the old days of basketball where you had a huge ass, tall ass, power forward and center.
Yeah. That would be awesome, and I feel like Luka having that, I don't even want to think about that.
Yeah, because Andre Drummond, even though he's a big man, he's a big guy or a big dude. Luka's gonna throw lobs to him. Luka's gonna throw lobs to Kristaps. He's gonna be able to space the floor a lot because. You're always gonna have Drummond in the paint because he's a traditional center like that. He doesn't really have a mid range shot and he does not have a 3-point shot. But Kristaps can really space the floor out, have 4 people on the perimeter, Drummond getting the offensive rebounds. But I don't know, like that would be really interesting to see. Another team, I think, the Raptors. He could just be put into Marc Gasol's
Siakam and Drummond.
Siakam and Drummond. He could just be put into Gasol's spot, and I think he'll have way more of a impact than Gasol's having now. And I mean, obviously the Raptors haven't missed a beat even losing Kawhi. They're obviously not doing like as good as they were, but having Drummond there, that's gonna be amazing because I feel like the Raptors always had like a really good center in terms of or a big man. Even when they had Bosh was an amazing player at the time, and then he came to us. He came to the Heat. They had Jonas Valanciunas, who was a great center. Now they have Marc Gasol. I think Andre Drummond is kind of going to be the player that's going to kind of make more of a difference in terms of like the low post. And Siakam, Van Fleet, Lowry, if they're all still there, if they're not engaged in the trade for Drummond, that's going to be a crazy team. But I also saw today that the Pistons may be interested in getting Van Fleet. So
I like him on the Raptors. That would be.
yeah, I like him on the Raptors. But I mean, if the Raptors
Big's
really
twin
want,
right there.
yeah, if the Raptors really want if the Raptors really want to get Drummond, then they might have to give up Van Fleet in terms of like the negotiations and everything. But we gotta see how that plays out.
Yeah.
So, if traded, will the Pistons blow up? Where will Blake Griffin go? They're 13-24 right now. Those are questions that have left to be answered. Like we were literally talking about it earlier. Blake Griffin's out for the season. If Drummond gets traded, what's gonna happen? You know, if they get Van Fleet, let's say he goes to the Raptors and they get Van Fleet, is that gonna be enough to kind of still be a playoff contender? You know, I don't know what's gonna happen.
I think the tricky thing with Blake Griffin is his injuries, because I feel like every year
he's been injured a lot.
It's always the same thing, and he always has a season-ending injury, or he's just missing a lot of time. So I don't really know where he can fit in, because if he was healthy, and he could just, you know, play at a consistent rate, which I wish he could, because he's been injured so long. I could say a team, but I don't really know any team that would want to risk that right now.
Yeah, and I mean, Blake Griffin also, like, he's always had issues with his knee, and especially his left knee. So it's like, can he stay healthy? Like you said, like, is he worth the gamble? I know in the NBA, like, staying healthy is a really big thing. Even though I don't get why Chandler Parsons, like, has a huge contract and he's always fucking injured. Like, he literally came back from, like, a huge injury a couple years ago, and then he got one of the biggest extensions, and that was just ridiculous. But I mean, it depends, like, what team is willing to kind of gamble on Blake Griffin, and then, you know, what are the Pistons going to do in terms of, are they going to rebuild? Are they going to try to get some pieces to kind of keep going? I don't know.
I don't know either.
So, I want to close this off with our Miami Heat.
Let's do it.
I think the Miami Heat are one piece away from being a legit title contender. We need a true playmaker, which is what I've been saying since literally 2010. We need someone like a Rajon Rondo, or kind of like a Westbrook, but in terms of playmaking, where they want to stat pad their own stats, but they're selfishly unselfish. Just like Rondo, just like Westbrook. They want to get 10 or 11, 12 assists a game, that they're just going out there, running pick and rolls, running plays. Have that guy that's going to really be there to go and play make. Goran Dragic is a great pick and roll player, but I don't think he's a pure playmaker. You know, but with the options now, I don't think there's really a pure playmaker that's on the market that can really be utilized by the Heat, but I still think that that's what we need. Now, people on the Heat that I'm willing to trade: Waiters, James Johnson, Kelly Olynyk, Myers Leonard, and Derrick Jones Jr. Now, I think that Goran Dragic and Justice Winslow can be thrown in there if it's for the right deal.
If it's for the right person.
Right
exactly.
person, yeah. So, what we need is a backup playmaking point guard that can pass and penetrate the paint to space the floor and get assists. I want Drew Holiday.
That's what I was just going to say that.
And I think adding Dragic to the deal is going to really help getting Drew Holiday.
I think we talked about you know,
we talked about it last week about like Drew Holiday. And stuff like
he's
that.
just not selfish. He's one of those guys that really plays to his position. He's not selfish. He's not toxic. He does what he has to do. He's not a flashy point, and I feel like that's the problem nowadays. Is that every point guard in the league wants to be flashy, wants to shoot the three, wants to do all this shit, but they forget what their position is meant for.
Yeah.
And I feel like he fits like that role perfectly.
And I think if you have Drew Holiday come in, he's gonna be a starting point guard, and the question is, okay, now who's gonna have to be benched? Kendrick Nunn is gonna have to, Kendrick Nunn is not gonna be the starting point guard anymore, but he's gonna come off the bench. But then you don't have to worry about, I think Kendrick Nunn is just gonna be the backup point guard. You don't have to worry about Goran Dragic being the backup. Now, Goran Dragic has been having an amazing season with us this year, coming off the bench. I feel like that's kind of like his role now. where that's like the kind of style of play he should be, like a backup point guard, and he's doing really well with us. But having Drew Holiday would be just such a, like, I don't know, I feel like it would be such a great advantage. Like, he's 22 years old. Sorry, not 22. He's 32 years old. Or he's 30 years old, and I don't know, like, I just feel like, you know, you're going to give up kind of, he is an older player, but he's performing very well. He's getting 6.5 assists this year, and he got 7.7 last year. So I think we have a player that can really play make like that. I think it'll be a really good addition to our team, because all of our games, it seems like a lot of the wins that we get, we're 17-1 at home, and we have an amazing record. We're playing really good, but I'm still not comfortable with the fact that our wins are by such small margins. Our games go to like the last second, to the last minute of the game, and that's not going to help out in the playoffs. That's not how it works in the playoffs. I think what we need in the last minutes of the game is a true playmaker, and I think Drew Holiday can help us out there.
I agree. No, like, you said it perfectly. I just feel like I think that'll do well, especially for like Kendrick Nunn and like Tyler Hero, to like have a guy like that just feeding them the rock and things like that. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
And Goran Dragic, I like him a lot, but like you said, he hasn't really been having the best he hasn't been having the best year with us. But just thinking about it gets me excited. So I totally agree.
Yeah.
I feel like we should get a guy like that, and he's like the perfect candidate. There's like no one else right now that fits that role more than him.
And I think also it'd be good to have have it strategically in terms of finances. So for example, Goran Dragic is getting paid $19.22 million a year. If we can include, if we can include Dion Waiters in that and fucking get rid of him, that's $12 million. So 19 plus 12, that's a $31 million contract. We have Drew Holiday come in, that's $26 million. So we have another $5 million there. Now, obviously, if we get another player, maybe we can get rid of James Johnson also, because I don't think we really need him that much. Or maybe Kelly Olynyk, Myers Leonard, someone, just to kind of free up more cap space. And that way, with that extra cap space, because we have a lot of cap space right now, if we kind of free up a little bit more, I feel like we can definitely go for a big push of getting maybe Giannis when he's a free agent, or a huge free agent name. Not this free agency, but next free agency. So I think it's more of a long game kind of thing for Pat Riley. But then again, if Pat Riley doesn't do anything at the trade deadline, for example, if our team stays like this for the rest of the year, I wouldn't be mad. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like we're doing really good, especially with the position we were put in, and with all the players that we have. We're doing like better than anybody else expected. I just really want to get rid of. I really want two things for the Heat: get a playmaking point guard, or get a really like very reliable starting point guard, and get rid of Johnson and Waiters.
Just give us a bag of chips if you have to. Just do anything.
Give us cash considerations, whatever it is. Like, I want Dion Waiters off the payroll. I want to have that salary space, and like, yeah.
I agree. So
that's it. Episode 13.
13, bro.
If you like us, rate us 5 stars. Share us on social media. Listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and theopenshot.com. Later.